we go. Let me get this here. Did that look staged to you guys? Because it was. I got my new MarinAire air conditioner in. We're going to unbox it up here because the box won't fit through the companionway, and then we'll carry it down below and actually install it. But let's go ahead and grab some scissors and we'll come back and break her open. They did a very good job in packaging this up with a lot of plastic that is probably going to end up in the ocean. Tons of foam. It's always good to see. Right off the bat, we've got the user's manual right on top. Let's go ahead and take a look. So this is the unit. Looks like we've got our nice insulated discharge, some cooling ports. That is the control box. But it looks like everything is here and not severely damaged, if at all. So I'll do my best not to destroy everything, taking it out, and we'll go down below. So this is everything that comes in the box. You get a user manual, which is very brief and technically accurate. They've got a neat little brochure about their humidity sensor. You get a set of steel feet, the control box, which is already pre-connected to your unit, a digital control panel, as well as a nifty little remote control. The only tools that I think we'll need for this job are actually a Phillips head screwdriver and a flathead screwdriver. So the plan is to open up the control box and figure out how I'm going to connect the power cables. I believe they go in through the bottom port right there. After we figured that out, I'll need to figure out where I'm going to actually mount the control box, because that's going to be difficult to do with the actual unit in the space down below. So if I can get that mounted before I drop this in, that should help make things pretty easy for us. Once the control box is mounted, we'll actually just go ahead and drop this in, and hopefully everything will be hunky-dory. So, one thing I'm noticing already is that this one has 4 Phillips head screws, while the Dometic only had 1. It's annoying, but I'm sure this is a much cheaper piece of metal to fabricate than the one that Dometic has. If anything, it's at least 4 times as strong, since it has 4 times the screws. One comment I have already, I don't like these screws very much. I think they are very easy to lose, and I would prefer to see something captive, kind of like the one that the Dometic had, where it can't fall out and be lost. So right off the bat, it looks like these are the connections for the terminals, and it looks like it's already set up to come in through the top with the AC, where it would kind of go through this little bracket, and then they'd get plugged into those. So opening up the user's manual to the 110 to 120 volt 60 hertz page, we get some instructions here. These two, the PN and PL, those are for the pump, the water pump. So we'll have to get the water pump lines up in here as well. The gold one here, that is your grounding wire. And then over here, L and N, those are the black and white AC power lines. And one thing I'm looking for is also the control panel outlet that will connect with the phone cord to the new control panel. There's a warning in the instructions not to use existing ones of these because it might not work. So I think we'll rerun this to the new control panel when we mount that, but I want to make sure that I understand where that goes in here. Looks like it's right there, underneath the giant stop sign. I should be able to plug the phone cable here, the gray phone cable, into that little gray box, and I see the outlet up in here. So yeah, we'll go ahead and focus on getting these wired up to power first, and then I'll run the phone cable out through the top as well, and we'll have to feed it. It goes back up through there and out the hole, And once all of this is fed and wired up, we'll go ahead and mount it into the cubby down below. So we've got the wires connected. One issue I just had, the mounting bracket that goes on top of these wires, it doesn't actually fit with all of these wires on there. So if anyone from MarinAire is watching that, redesign that, because that it's a silly little flaw. It's not the most critical thing in the world to have that, but it does add a little bit of safety to the design to have it on there. Next, I'm going to plug in the actual phone cable that goes into here to make sure that that gets run properly, and then we'll be mounting it to that wall up there, and hopefully we'll be able to get this in before it gets too dark. Well, it took a lot of finagling to get that in there. I had to remove a couple of the wooden brackets from around it, but we have the control box mounted onto that wall. I'm going to put some wood underneath it eventually to keep it supported. Big issue though, if I take the lid for this hatch and put it down on top, it's ever so slightly too big. We're talking less than an inch too big, and that is not going to work. So my plan, instead of trying to get this back out or anything like that, I'm going to try to cut a slot into the middle of that board so that it can clear the ridge here in the middle. What a strange problem to have, though. That one's on me. That's not a reflection of anything that MarinAire did wrong. I need to finish connecting the hoses and getting them clamped on. My duct is actually about an inch bigger than the outlet, which is a good problem to have, but I will be basically duct taping the heck out of that to make sure that it is snug on there. Well, in typical sailing anticipation fashion, this project is taking longer than I anticipated, so we will be completing it some other day, but not right now. So the air conditioning's water pump started leaking a while ago. I had patched it up with some putty just to stop the water from dripping into the bilge and also to prevent air from coming into it. But now I actually have a rebuild kit for the pump that includes a new, basically everything. So we're going to take it apart here real quick, and then we're going to throw in a new head. So I had to go to the store and buy new bronze fitting here because the old one would not come out of the plastic. But now the pump is rebuilt. Hopefully when we connect the water, nothing will leak, and if it does, we're going to have to patch it up with butyl tape or silicone or something. But we'll put it back in place and get her going. One thing that the installation manual requires is that you actually ground the box here. So there's a grounding lug here and one right down here. I actually moved it from over here to over here, but it should be okay there. And I've actually spliced together 20 feet of grounding wire that will connect to the engine because the engine is connected directly to the anodes on the prop shaft. So that's the best way that I can get these grounded. If you had another anode on the boat, or if this was a steel boat, this would be a lot different, but this is how I'm doing it. And if anybody at MarinAire sees a problem with that, please let me know in the comments. So the digital control panel on here has 4 little screw holes here, but I think 4 is overkill, so I'm actually just going to use 2, and they almost perfectly line up with the existing holes there. So we're gonna plug it in. We're all good there. Feed the wire back, and then need to take 2 wood screws and put them into the wall. We're at the very least going to use one of these screw holes, and I might need to get the other one drilled out a little bit. I'm going to use an all AWL to kind of punch a hole. That way I can get a screw in and biting in there. And we'll finish her up. Last step is to click on the little cover for it, and there we go. We've got a control panel. It's very shiny and looks nice. We're almost done here. Let's get this wrapped up quick. Okay. So I've got 2 mounting brackets on here. One complaint I have from MarinAire, if you guys ever watch it, is that there's not really anywhere to put mounting brackets on this thing. Everywhere else over here on this side is covered up by the housing, and there's no way to get really under here, and you have a drain port blocking that one. So just one design change that you guys might want to consider in the future. I have the drain connected to the old drain hose over there. All of the hoses are connected. The ducting has been sealed up with duct tape. I've blocked off the control box, so that is now stable. Now on the panel here, I actually went ahead and cut out a groove earlier this morning, and now this has been epoxied over and it's dry to kind of protect it. But that should now sit pretty darn flush. There we go. So all that we have left to do now is to open up the water valve so that I can get the air out of the water pump, and then we'll be able to start her up and give it a whirl. Okay, now for the big moment. I am going to turn the power on and we'll see what happens. I heard a beep. Let's see, 66 Fahrenheit and 63% humidity. Let's see if I can turn on the fan. Aha! There we go. We've got life. First comments, with this thing now turned on, it is way quieter than the Dometic unit. The airflow feels okay. I don't see any sparks or fire coming out. Let's check the water flow out. We've got adequate water flow coming out of the hull there. I can check my AC amperage. It's around 10 amps, which is exactly how much the manual calls for. So let's play around with some of the settings here. So this is supposed to be which mode? Oh gosh, there's a lot of modes on here. Let's see, that looks like fan only. So that's what I want. I want to play with the fan. So that's the highest speed that the fan has. So cycling through, we've got fan mode, heating mode, auto without dehumidifying, cool, and then dehumidification mode. But really, I'm just going to turn it off because we don't actually need it right now. It's quite pleasant on board. But I'll run it tonight to get the boat warm, and it should be okay. I've made a complete mess of anticipation this week, but we are finally done. I have air conditioning just in time for the hot season down here in Texas. I wish I had it during the cold we had a couple weeks ago, but yeah, it is what it is. Now that we're done, feel free to leave. Take a water bottle with you if you want. Really, just leave, honestly, because I don't need you here anymore. So please get off my boat.